deli counter turned into a scene of a deadly stabbing.
A postal worker was killed and one woman is under arrest this morning. Let's get right to Good Day's Briella Tomasetti. She is live outside that bodega in Harlem. And Briella, investigators believe this all started over who was next in line to order at that deli.
Yeah, Tashani and Dan, good morning to both of you. All literally over a sandwich. That woman, the suspect identified this morning as 24-year-old Jaya Cruz. She has been charged in the murder of 36-year-old Ray Hodges, who, was killed on the job yesterday. He was stabbed to death here in the deli behind me in Harlem. Now, Cruz could be arraigned on second-degree murder charges as early as today. Let's get right to her being escorted out of the 28th precinct yesterday. It happened shortly before midnight. Cruz was covering her face with a black hooded sweatshirt and avoiding questions from reporters. According to police, the attack happened inside Joe's Grocery on Malcolm X Boulevard and West 118th Street at about 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Hodges, an on-duty postal worker, was found with stab wounds about the body and rushed to Harlem Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police confirming with us this morning that the stabbing followed an altercation over a spot in line and that a knife was recovered at the scene. Neighbors tell us they ran into Hodges all the time on his daily route and are in complete disbelief that this even happened.
I know the guys who deliver mail, and just like that, he's gone. It's very scary. Anytime you wake up, anything can happen. You can just, like they said, it's an argument, so you can just say hello to somebody and you stab. Something like that. It's disheartening, to say the least.
Cruz lives just down the street from this bodega, while Hodges lived up in the Bronx. We are still waiting on word in regard to her arraignment, when exactly that will happen. The United States Postal Inspection Service, though, released a statement on behalf of Hodges' his death, saying that the the United States Postal Inspection Service will be working very closely with the NYPD in regard to this developing investigation. But for now, we're live here in Harlem. Dan and Tashani, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Briella, thank you very much.
News, Iria Sandlin joins us live now from the grounds. Iria, we just got this information from the Hamilton School Superintendent saying that the 4K student was actually transferring to another bus there at the Silver Spring Intermediate School when this crash happened.
Jaron, it is absolutely heartbreaking. Today was the first day back to school for these students after the holidays, and we have just learned from the school district, like you said, a 4K student has died. I just got this email. I want to read it to you. The district says it is with extreme sadness we inform you about a recent loss to our school community. This morning, a young student passed away after a tragic incident that took place at Silver Spring Intermediate School. That is right here. The student was a 4K student who was at SSI transferring to a shuttle bus to be taken to Willow Springs Learning Center. Now, they have not identified the student out of respect for the family. The school district says there is a lot of questions, concerns right now, and emotions, and they have student services teams at the school right now trying to help these students on this very, very sad day. A lot of questions remaining, of course, though, for these families, because I have been here and talking to some of the parents that are across the street in a church parking lot. They got notifications from the school that their children were marked absent because they were on the same bus. But now that letter has gone out to the families, and we have learned that a 4K student passed away. We do not know anything about the bus driver or anything else. We're waiting to get more details from deputies, Waukesha County Sheriff's deputies. We're going to stay out here at the scene. There are several parents in cars. We're not showing them right now. They're waiting to be reunited with their children. Waukesha Sheriff's deputies were walking around, taking their names and getting all that information to reunite these parents with their kids. A lot of frustration and sadness right now. But again, we're going to stay out here and hopefully get some answers about exactly what happened with this tragic accident. It's the first day back to school for these students in this school district.
Syria, really quickly, I had a question for you. The statement from the Hamilton School District doesn't mention anything about school operations right now at this hour, but based off of what you're seeing, obviously parents are there with a lot of questions. Is school still going on right now?
Yeah, Jaron, to my knowledge, school is still going on because a lot of these parents are waiting to be reunited with their kids. Now, these parents I've talked to are parents of the young kids, the 4K, the young ones, and obviously this is the intermediate school. This is for 5th and 6th grade students. We have not seen any students come out of there, so we're assuming that all of those kids are still in class. We also want to play a little bit of that dispatch call that went out earlier this morning.
I need you to respond to the accident, Carver's child at Silver Spring Intermediate School.
Like we said, Waukesha County Sheriff's deputies are still out here. We are waiting for word from the chief or anyone else who can give us more information about this tragic accident. But again, we have confirmed a 4K student died this morning. Just absolutely heartbreaking for all of the families of this district.
Yeah, and the school district saying the student involved was a 4K student who was at SSI there behind you, transferring to a shuttle bus to be taken to Willow Springs Learning Center. Just so much heartbreak here at the beginning of the year, the first day back to school for so many of those students. Cyria Salen reporting live for us this morning in Sussex. Cyria,
this morning, the search continues for the person who shot and killed a MARTA bus driver over a $2 fare. MARTA officials say this shooting happened in downtown Decatur Friday night. Erica Murphy has more on the investigation this morning. Erica, police say this argument was all over just a small amount of money, but started it all.
You're exactly right, Cheryl. Police arrested 2 people in connection with this deadly shooting shortly after it happened. But right now they are still looking for a 3rd suspect who officers tell us pulled the trigger and took the driver's life over $2.50. MARTA police say that the 3 suspects attempted to board the bus at the Decatur station around 6:30 last night. An argument started over the bus fare. Investigators say that one of those suspects pulled out a gun and shot the driver 3 times. A passenger was also struck by gunfire. All 3 suspects ran from the scene. The driver, Leroy Ramos, had just been on the job for a few months and leaves behind 3 children. MARTA's police chief says this type of violence is happening too often.
We get a lot of these where individuals want to ride free or want to ride at a discount, and the operators let them know that, it is a $2.50 fare. And unfortunately, this $2.50 cost our operator's life. This is tragic. We don't take this lightly. It's very tragic to see how verbal altercations in today's time turn into immediate violence with handguns. And that's becoming the norm in our society, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to solve that at some point.
MARTA's chief says that investigators have video of that fatal shooting, but don't plan to release it since the investigation is ongoing. They have also deployed drones and canine units in an effort to find the person, but so far they've had no luck.
All right, Erica, we hope that some new information comes in for them this morning. We will stay on top of the latest details into this investigation as they continue to look for that 3rd suspect. Again, they believe that person is the shooter. We'll keep you in the know on the 11 Alive News
New
app.
overnight, an argument ended in gunfire at a restaurant in Brooklyn. Police say 2 men got into some kind of dispute at El Nuevo Tipico restaurant in Cypress Hills. It escalated and one man pulled out a gun, firing several times. The other man was hit in the hand. He went to a nearby precinct and told police what happened. 2 others were also hurt. A 27-year-old woman who was hit twice in the leg and a 37-year-old man grazed in the stomach. Police are looking for a man who was wearing a gray hat and black pants at the time.
ከዛ ዘሎ ከነካቶ ምንም ሳይቀር አይታችኋል። ምንም ሳይቀር ሴቱም ወንዱም ሳይቀር አካላቸው አቶ ግማሹ ከነካለ ያለው ራሱ የለም። ሬሳም ሆኖ ከነካሉ ቢኖር መልካም ነበር። ይህንንም ሁሉ ሴቱም ወንዱም አልቆ በወቅቱ እዚህ ነበረን አጠራቅመን ነው መኪና ላይ እንትን ያደረግነው የጫንነው።
ትላንትና ዕለት የተፈጠረው ነገር ከቀኑ 10 ከ50 አካባቢ ነው። ከዚህ ከሚርዴ ተነስቶ ወደ ወዮ እየሄደ መኪና ነው። ያው ደረቅ ጭነት መኪና ነው። በሱ ላይ ተሳፍረው ነበሩት ወደ 71 ሰዎች ነበር። ወደ ሰርግ እየሄዱ ነበረ እና ያው በፍጥነት ወሰን የተነሳው 71 ሰዎች ተጎድተዋል።
كمال أساكو عند الده كمال عند الده بربر عنكادو عند الده دم جينا بارو كدم من قيله كدم تنجيه تو بارو إنك بيجي حس إنها تاني فلا فلسا لحنك اللي أساك سوق بارو لو أمالي راعيس.
Police tried and failed to arrest the president of South Korea on Friday as the political and military crisis escalates there. Greg Palkot has more.
The ongoing political standoff in South Korea turned physical on Friday, leading to fears of a possible civil war. President Yoon Suk-yeol is facing impeachment following his declaration of martial law last month. And on Friday morning, some 80 police officers and investigators entered the presidential compound to place him under arrest. But they were met with a human wall of more than 200 soldiers and members of the president's security detail. There were clashes, and police left without detaining the president. On the streets of Seoul, protesters from both sides are making their voices heard.
The country is in a state of civil war and anarchy. President Yoon needs to return so he can normalize the country.
The president needs to be criminally punished so he won't be allowed to do anything. He needs to be impeached as soon as possible.
But others say they just want to return to stability after weeks of uncertainty clouded the holiday season.
While it's a season to celebrate, I feel really pessimistic that this situation has been going on since the end of last year.
Meanwhile, South Korea's Constitutional Court is gearing up for President Yoon's impeachment trial. A procedural hearing was held Friday to finalize the trial schedule and witness lists. And the judges say politics won't play a role in the courtroom.
I will judge independently only by the Constitution and law, without bias, according to my conscience.
Yoon supporters are now drawing parallels with President-elect Trump. Some even carrying signs that say, "Stop the steal." In London, Greg Palkot.
Taiwan has reported the first Chinese combat patrol of the new year, signaling a significant escalation in regional tensions. 22 Chinese military aircraft and warships conducted a strategic operation around the island, marking a critical moment in cross-strait relations. Taiwan's defense ministry confirmed the extensive military maneuver, which involved multiple J-16 fighter jets and naval vessels patrolling the island's airspace and waters. The operation represents a direct challenge to Taiwan's sovereignty and international perceptions of regional stability. Foreign Minister Lin Chia-lung described the Chinese actions as psychological warfare, highlighting the deliberate intimidation tactics employed by Beijing. The release of a provocative video by China's Eastern Theater Command further underscores the mounting military pressure. Taiwanese President William Lai has consistently maintained his willingness to engage in dialogue despite repeated rejections from Beijing. His stance emphasizes that only the people of Taiwan can determine their future, a position that directly challenges China's territorial claims. Chinese President Xi Jinping has repeatedly insisted on reunification, stating that Chinese on both sides of the Taiwan Strait belong to one and the same family. This rhetoric signals Beijing's unwavering commitment to bringing Taiwan under its control. The military buildup has reached a critical point, with Taiwan's military predicting China could be prepared for a potential invasion by 2025. This assessment has heightened international concerns about a possible conflict in the region. China's foreign ministry spokesperson Lin Jian reaffirmed the country's position, declaring that Taiwan is part of China's territory and that reunification is an inevitable historical trend. These statements leave little room for diplomatic compromise. The United States continues to maintain its policy of strategic ambiguity, though more than half of Taiwanese citizens believe the US would intervene militarily if China were to use force. This perception adds another layer of complexity to the already tense situation. Recent military exercises have become increasingly provocative, with China conducting frequent patrols and crossing established boundaries. The Eastern Theater Command's video, which showcased warships and fighter jets near US patrol aircraft, demonstrates the escalating military tensions. Taiwan's Democratic Progressive Party, in power since 2016, has maintained a firm stance against Chinese sovereignty claims. This political position has further intensified Beijing's diplomatic and military pressure on the island. International observers are closely monitoring the situation, recognizing the potential for a significant regional conflict. The strategic importance of Taiwan, coupled with its geographic location, makes this an issue of global significance. The ongoing confrontation represents more than a territorial dispute. It's a complex geopolitical challenge that could potentially reshape international relations in the Asia-Pacific region. With each military maneuver, the risk of misunderstanding or accidental conflict increases. As tensions continue to escalate, the international community watches closely, hoping diplomatic channels can prevent a potential military confrontation. The delicate balance between Taiwan's sovereignty and China's territorial claims remains a critical global security challenge.
Let's now get you some breaking inputs that have in fact just come in, where Russia claims to have shot down at least about 8 American-supplied ATACMS missiles, whose use Moscow has warned could spark a hypersonic ballistic missile attack on central Kiev. The Russian Defense Forces say that they have downed at least about 72 Ukrainian attack drones as well. However, Russia hasn't specified if there were any casualties or damage that it sustained in the course of this attack by Ukraine. The outgoing American President Joe Biden's administration has supplied long-range ATACMS missiles to Ukraine, which can penetrate deep inside Russia, provoking retaliation from Moscow, which has responded with its new hypersonic missile systems.
Our top focus we're on right now. Russia has claimed that its air defense systems intercepted 8 US-supplied ATACMS missiles and 72 Ukrainian drones on Saturday. Marking fresh gains in the war, Russian forces also took control of the Nadaya settlement in Ukraine's Luhansk region. The ATACMS missiles, recently provided by the outgoing Biden administration, have a range of up to 300 kilometers, and it can strike deep into Russian territory. Moscow has warned that their use could escalate tensions further. Well, in the western Kursk region now, Russia claims it continued assaults on Ukrainian forces, killing or wounding 225 soldiers in the last 24 hours. Russian troops also claim that they destroyed multiple Ukrainian vehicles and artillery. Ukraine, however, has countered these claims, stating that its forces successfully repelled the Russian advances in multiple directions, inflicting heavy losses. Kyiv reports that 1,000 Russian soldiers were killed or wounded in recent clashes. Ukraine's Air Force also reported it shot down 34 Russian drones, which were launched overnight, continuing its defensive operations against a series of aerial attacks. Ukrainian strikes focused on destroying Russian command posts, military assets, and troop concentrations. Over the past 24 hours, 138 combat engagements were reported along various front lines between Russia and Ukraine.
NATO and Russia exchanging increasingly heated nuclear rhetoric, the world is edging closer to unprecedented military confrontation. Moscow cited NATO's European missile deployments as justification for its own aggressive missile positioning, marking a dangerous new phase in nuclear deterrence. Here's a report for more.
A terrifying demonstration unfolds over Ukraine on November 21, 2024. Russia's new Oreshnik missile unleashes a raw display of firepower, raining destruction from above. Now it appears that this was just the tip of the iceberg. Russia is scraping a moratorium on the deployment of intermediate and shorter-range nuclear-capable missiles. Moscow says the decision has been made because the US has deployed such weapons in various regions around the world. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says that Russia's moratorium on the deployment of short and intermediate-range missiles is no longer practically viable and will have to be abandoned. The Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, signed by Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan in 1987, marked the first time the superpowers had agreed to reduce their nuclear arsenals and eliminated a whole category of nuclear weapons. US plans to install missiles in Germany by 2026. These long-range missiles include SM-6 Tomahawk and developmental hypersonic weapons, which have significantly longer range than current land-based fires in Europe. These missiles can strike deep within Russian territory. Calling this deployment escalatory, Russia plans to deploy offensive missiles within striking distance of Western Europe, if US follows through on its promise to deploy these missiles in Germany. Russian Iskander missiles are already stationed in Kaliningrad and Belarus, while longer-range systems like the brand new Oreshnik could be stationed deeper in Russian territory, which makes much of Europe in its range.
If necessary, if we see that more powerful intermediate-range weapons are required, we will of course use them, but we are in no hurry. It's not a secret and we don't hide it, and I said before, we don't have many of these Oreshnik systems yet. We have them, and not just one system, but we are in no hurry to use them, because these weapons are powerful. They are designed to solve specific problems.
The world's 9 nuclear powers increasingly embrace atomic weapons in their military strategies. Russia and America dominate the nuclear landscape, controlling 90% of global nuclear arsenals. The US maintains 1,770 deployed warheads, plus 1,938 in storage, while Russia matches deployed numbers but also hold 2,700 reserve warheads. As US-Russian relations deteriorate to Cold War levels, both nations lament the collapse of arms control frameworks while simultaneously advancing their nuclear capabilities. This dangerous paradox leaves the world perched on the brink of a new nuclear age. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Muka jangan. Muka. Muka ada kata ada dia ya Allah. Ada sini kan. Ada barang ada sih. Anak ada gufte. Ida kalah ya sih. Mau sih. Ida kalah ya sih. Ya, ini nanti mati. Ya, ya, sana kono.
Yeah, Russ Courtney, he is not the only one frustrated. Take a look at this hole. It has grown. In fact, he put this fence up, but it's since been swallowed by this hole. They want something done before someone is injured or, worse, killed.
We've been asking them to come and do this for 4 whole years, and it just don't make no sense.
DeKalb homeowner Roy Earl says enough is enough. He wants the county to come fix a growing sinkhole on his property in a neighborhood off of Busy River Road.
Sinkhole been here for 4 years, going on 5. I put a barricade up. It done sunk in. It keep caving in.
Earl says it started 4 years ago when the county fixed a sewer line starting on the other side of the street and then coming to his. He says as each heavy rain...
Okay, now check out this video. Talk about a fight for survival. This comes out of Winnie, Texas, where 2 fishermen and their dog were out on the waters of the Standalone Reservoir when they noticed something strange in the distance, a tornado. Once the realization of the danger hit, it was too late, and the men were violently thrashed by the forceful winds, flipping the boat and trapping Brian Johnson.
Oh my God! After a month of rain in just 2 days, coming home for some looked like this. At a block of flats in Greater Manchester, residents woke up to see they were trapped.
Hiya.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yeah, so the first thing we noticed overall was a power cut before we saw the water. And then after that, it just sort of encroached and got higher and higher. And then we tried the lights weren't working, there was no water. And then we looked outside and saw this. And yeah, not the best way to spend New Year's.